I kept the box on the top shelf of my closet, behind the winter coats I never wore anymore. Inside were drawings, birthday cards, a stuffed rabbit with one ear missing, and 3 handwritten notes, all in her handwriting, all from before the fire. The letter arrived on a Tuesday. No return address, postmarked from somewhere in Pennsylvania, a town I'd never heard of. The envelope was plain white, slightly bent from the mail sorting machines. My hand shook when I saw the handwriting on the front. I knew that handwriting. 18 years. 18 years of telling myself she was gone. 18 years of living with the memory of flames and smoke and the way the firefighters looked at me when they came out of the building. 18 years of my son patting my shoulder and saying it wasn't my fault, that these things happen, that we had to move on. I sat at my kitchen table and stared at the envelope for 20 minutes before I opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper, lined notebook paper like a kid would use in school. The handwriting was more mature now, more controlled, but I recognized the way she made her capital D's, the little loop at the bottom of her lowercase g's. "Daddy, I'm alive. Please find me." That was all it said. I read it 17 times. I held it up to the light. I smelled the paper like some kind of detective in a bad movie. It smelled like nothing. Just paper. Then I did what any rational person would do. I went to my closet, pulled down the box, and compared the handwriting to the birthday card she'd made me when she was 7. The one with the crayon drawing of us holding hands. The one that said, "Happy birthday, Daddy. I love you more than ice cream." The handwriting matched. My daughter's name was Emma. She was 8 years old when the fire happened. The official report said faulty wiring in the apartment building where she was staying with her aunt for the weekend, my ex-wife's sister. The whole 3rd floor went up. 3 people died. Emma was supposedly one of them. I was a fire inspector back then. I knew about accelerants and electrical fires and arson. I knew how to read burn patterns and heat damage. I knew what questions to ask, but I didn't ask them. Because my son was there, holding my hand at the hospital, telling me it was going to be okay. Because the funeral was small and quick and everyone said it was better that way. Because grief is supposed to make you stupid, and I let it. I put the letter in my pocket and drove to the public records office. The woman at the desk was young, maybe 25, with bright red lipstick and a name tag that said Kayla. She smiled at me like I was her grandfather. "I need to see a fire report from 18 years ago," I said. "Do you have the address and date?" I gave her both. She typed into her computer, frowned, typed some more. "Okay, so we have it, but it's in the archive room. It'll take me about 15 minutes to pull it. You can wait over there if you want." I waited. The chairs were uncomfortable and too small. I watched people come and go, requesting birth certificates and property records and marriage licenses. Normal people doing normal things. I wondered if any of them had letters in their pockets that didn't make sense. Kayla came back with a manila folder. "Here you go. You can look at it at that table over there. Just bring it back when you're done." The report was 32 pages long. Most of it was technical jargon and diagrams. I'd written reports like this 1,000 times in my career. I knew how to read them. On page 17, there was an amendment stamp dated 3 weeks after the initial report. The amendment changed the cause from undetermined origin to electrical fault in 3rd floor junction box. The amendment was signed by someone named Dale Pritchard. I knew Dale Pritchard. He was the fire marshal who'd trained me. He'd been at my wedding. He'd sent flowers when Emma died. I took a picture of the signature with my phone and left the building. The old apartment building was gone now, torn down 6 years after the fire and replaced with luxury lofts that nobody could afford. I stood on the sidewalk and stared up at the clean brick facade and the balconies with their potted plants and felt something cold settle in my chest. There was a coffee shop on the corner. I went inside and ordered black coffee I didn't want and sat by the window. I pulled out my phone and searched for news articles about the fire. There were 3. 2 were short paragraphs in the local paper. The 3rd was longer, published a week after the fire. Community Rallies for Fire Victims. The article talked about a fundraiser organized by local businesses and families. The goal had been $5,000 for funeral expenses and support for the affected families. They'd raised $43,000. I read the article 3 times. Then I searched for where the money had gone. There was nothing. No follow-up article. No accounting. Just a brief mention in the fire marshal's final report that community donations were distributed to appropriate parties. I finished my coffee and drove home. That night, I pulled out every piece of paperwork I had from that time. Insurance documents, police reports, hospital bills. I spread them across my dining room table and read through them like I was investigating a stranger's life. The life insurance policy on Emma had been small. $5,000. I'd used it to pay for the funeral. Except I hadn't paid for the funeral. My son had. He'd insisted, said I was too broken up to deal with it, that he wanted to take care of it, that it was the least he could do. My son's name was Tyler. He was 39 now, married to a woman named Vanessa who worked in marketing and wore expensive shoes. They lived in a house with a 3-car garage in the suburbs. Tyler owned a consulting firm that did something with corporate restructuring. I'd never fully understood it. We had dinner once a month. It was always at their house, always catered, always polite. I called him. "Dad, hey, what's up? I want to ask you something about the fire." There was a pause. Not long, maybe 2 seconds, but I heard it. "Okay. What about it? Where were you that night? The night it happened?" "Dad, we've been over this. I was at a conference in Chicago, remember? I flew back as soon as I heard." "What conference?" "It was a leadership seminar thing. Through work." "What hotel did you stay at?" Another pause. Longer this time. "Dad, why are you asking me this?" "I'm just trying to remember. What hotel?" "I don't remember, Dad. It was 18 years ago. Why does it matter?" "It doesn't," I said. "I was just thinking about it. Sorry to bother you." "You're not bothering me. Are you okay? Do you want to come over for dinner this weekend?" "Yeah, sure. That sounds good." I hung up. Then I went online and searched for leadership conferences in Chicago 18 years ago in April. There were dozens. I cross-referenced them with Tyler's company at the time. There was no match. I called the airline and pretended to be filing a late insurance claim. The woman on the phone was helpful until she asked for the ticket number. I gave her Tyler's name and the approximate dates. "I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not showing any reservations under that name for those dates. Can you check April 10th through April 15th? I did, sir. Nothing. I thanked her and hung up. My son had lied about where he was the night Emma died. I sat in my kitchen and felt the last 18 years rearrange themselves in my head. All the condolences, all the support, all the times he'd told me to let it go, to move on, to stop torturing myself with what-ifs, all lies. I pulled the letter out of my pocket and read it again. "Daddy, I'm alive. Please find me." But there was something else. Something I'd noticed the first time but hadn't wanted to think about. At the bottom of the page, in small letters, almost like an afterthought, she'd written, "Remember the promise." The promise. When Emma was 6, she'd been terrified of thunderstorms. During one particularly bad one, I'd held her in my lap and promised her that no matter what happened, no matter where she was, I would always come find her. Always. "Even if I'm on the moon?" she'd asked. "Even if you're on the moon?" Nobody else knew about that promise. Not her mother, not Tyler, just me and Emma. I folded the letter carefully and put it back in my pocket. Then I started planning. The first thing I needed was to find Dale Pritchard, the man who'd signed the amendment to the fire report, the man who'd changed undetermined to electrical fault. I found him on LinkedIn. He'd retired from the fire marshal's office 12 years ago. According to his profile, He now did consulting work for insurance companies, helping them investigate suspicious claims. The irony wasn't lost on me. His address was listed in a public directory. He lived 40 minutes away, in a small town near the state line. I drove there on a Thursday afternoon. His house was a ranch style with beige siding and a neat lawn. There was a pickup truck in the driveway and a dog barking somewhere in the backyard. I knocked on the door. A woman answered. She was in her 60s, wearing a sweatshirt with a lighthouse on it. "Can I help you?" "I'm looking for Dale Pritchard. Is he home?" "Who's asking?" "My name is Robert Ellis. I used to work with Dale. I had a question about an old case." She studied me for a moment, then called over her shoulder. "Dale! Someone here to see you." Dale appeared behind her. He'd aged badly. His face was red and blotchy, his hair thin and gray. But I recognized him. He recognized me too. "Robert," he said. His voice was flat. "Hey, Dale. Got a minute?" He looked at his wife, then back at me. "Yeah. Let's talk outside." We walked to the end of his driveway. He didn't look at me. "What do you want?" "I want to know why you amended the fire report." "What fire report?" "You know which one." He shook his head. "Robert, I amended 1,000 reports. I can't remember every single one." "The one where my daughter died." He was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed. "You need to leave this alone. Tell me why you changed it." "I changed it because that's what the evidence showed. Electrical fault. Clean and simple." "That's not what the evidence showed. The initial report said undetermined origin. The initial report was incomplete." "Who told you to change it?" "Nobody told me to change anything. I did my job." I stepped closer to him. He backed up. "Dale, I'm not going to hurt you, but I need to know the truth. The truth is your daughter died in a fire 18 years ago, and you need to let it go." He stared at me. "What?" "I got a letter. From her, in her handwriting." His face went pale. "That's impossible." "Is it?" "Robert, listen to me. I don't know what kind of scam this is, but it's not a scam. I compared the handwriting. It's her." He looked around like he was worried someone might be listening. "You need to stop this. Right now. You don't know what you're getting into." "Then tell me." "I can't." "Why not?" "Because I have a family. I have grandkids. I have a life. And I'm not throwing that away because you got some letter." "Who told you to change the report?" He didn't answer. "Was it Tyler?" Still nothing. "Dale, if you don't tell me, I'm going to find out anyway. And when I do, I'm going to make sure everyone knows you falsified an official document." He laughed, but it was bitter. "You think anyone cares about a fire report from 18 years ago? You think that matters to anyone?" "It matters to me." He looked at me for a long time. Then he said, "Your son came to see me 3 days after the fire. He brought me an envelope with $10,000 in it. Cash. He said the family wanted closure. He said the electrical fault story would make it easier for everyone. Less questions. Less pain." "And you believed him?" "I didn't care if I believed him. $10,000 is a lot of money." "What about the fundraiser money? The $43,000? "I don't know anything about that." "You're lying." "Yeah," he said. "I probably am. But I'm not telling you anything else. You want the truth? Go ask your son." He turned and walked back toward his house. I stood in his driveway and watched him go. I drove home in silence. My mind was racing, but my body felt numb. Everything I'd believed for 18 years was a lie. Everything. When I got home, there was a car in my driveway. Tyler's car. He was sitting on my front porch, scrolling through his phone. "Hey, Dad," he said when he saw me. "Thought I'd stop by. We haven't talked in a few days." "I'm busy," I said. "Busy with what?" "Just busy." He stood up. "You're acting weird. What's going on?" "Nothing." "Is this about the fire again? Because I talked to Dale Pritchard today." Tyler's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes. Something cold. Oh yeah? How's he doing? He told me you paid him to change the report. That's ridiculous. He said you gave him $10,000. Dad, he's an old man. He probably doesn't remember what happened yesterday, let alone 18 years ago. He remembered you. Tyler put his phone in his pocket. Okay, let's say, hypothetically, that I did give him some money. Let's say I did ask him to simplify the report. You know why I would have done that? Why? For you, because you were falling apart. Because every time someone asked questions, you got worse. Because I was trying to help you move on. By lying to me? By protecting you. I stared at him. He stared back. Where were you the night of the fire? I asked. I told you. Chicago. No, you weren't. Yes, I was. I called the airline. You didn't fly anywhere that week. He was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. It was a smile I'd seen before, the one he used in business meetings when someone challenged him. Okay, Dad, you caught me. I wasn't in Chicago. I was here. Where? Around. I had some things to take care of. What things? Personal things. Where's Emma? No, she's not. She died in the fire. I got a letter from her. Tyler laughed. Actually laughed. A letter? Dad, come on. Someone's messing with you. It was in her handwriting. Handwriting can be forged. Not like this. He stepped closer to me. Close enough that I could smell his cologne. Expensive. Always expensive with Tyler. Listen to me very carefully, he said. She died 18 years ago. Whatever you think you know, whatever you think you found, it's not real. You need to let this go. Or what? Or you're going to make yourself sick. Or worse, you're going to embarrass yourself. Is that what you want? You want people thinking you've lost it? I don't care what people think. Well, I do. And Vanessa does. We have a reputation in this community. We have friends. We have business relationships. And we're not going to let you destroy that because you're chasing ghosts. He turned and walked toward his car. Tyler, I called after him. He stopped, but didn't turn around. I'm going to find her, I said. And when I do, I'm going to find out what you did. He got in his car and drove away. I stood in my driveway until his taillights disappeared. Then I went inside, sat at my kitchen table, and started making a list. A list of everyone who'd been involved with the fire, everyone who'd attended the funeral, everyone who'd donated to the fundraiser. I was done being the grieving father. It was time to be the fire inspector again. That night, I got another email, same address. This one had an attachment. I downloaded it. It was a photo. The photo showed me at the cemetery that morning, kneeling by Emma's headstone. The message said, "We're always watching." I stared at the photo for a long time. Then I opened a new document on my computer and started typing. I wrote down everything I knew, every piece of evidence, every conversation, every suspicion. I wrote it all down in chronological order like a report. When I was finished, it was 30 pages long. I printed 3 copies. One I put in a safe deposit box at my bank. One I mailed to myself. One I kept hidden in my house. Then I sent an email to Tyler. I know everything, and if anything happens to me, the truth goes public. I didn't expect a response. I didn't get one. But the next morning, the black sedan was gone. The trail. I spent the next 3 days tracking down everyone who'd been at the fundraiser. The article had listed the organizing committee. 7 people, 6 of them were still in the area. The 7th had moved to Oregon. I started with the closest one. Her name was Patricia Wells. She'd been the principal of the elementary school Emma had attended. She was retired now, living in a condo near the lake. I called her and asked if we could talk. Of course, Robert. Come by anytime. Her condo was neat and full of pictures. Grandchildren mostly. She offered me tea. I accepted because it felt rude not to. I wanted to ask you about the fundraiser, I said. Oh, that was such a difficult time, but the community really came together. I'm trying to understand what happened to the money. Her smile faltered. What do you mean? The fundraiser raised $43,000. I'm trying to find out where it went. Well, it went to the families, of course. Which families? The families affected by the fire. Do you have records of the distributions? She set her teacup down. Robert, this was 18 years ago. I don't think anyone kept detailed records. Someone must have. That's a lot of money. I'm sure it was handled properly. By who? She looked uncomfortable. I believe Tyler was in charge of distributions. He volunteered to handle it since, he was family. Did you see him distribute the money? No, but I trusted him. Everyone did. Did he give you a report? Show you receipts? Robert, I don't like what you're implying. I'm not implying anything. I'm asking questions. Your son is a good man. He was devastated by what happened. We all were. I'm sure you were, but I still need to know what happened to the money. She stood up. I think you should leave. I left. The next person on the list was David Chen, a local businessman who owned a restaurant supply company. He donated $10,000 to the fundraiser. I went to his office. The receptionist said he was in a meeting. I said I'd wait. I waited for 2 hours. Finally, he came out. Mr. Ellis, he said. He looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. I only have a few minutes. That's fine. I just want to ask about the fundraiser for the fire victims. That was a long time ago. I know, but I'm trying to track the donations. Track them how? I want to know who received the money. He frowned. Why? Because I think there were some irregularities. Irregularities? I think the money didn't go where it was supposed to. He crossed his arms. That's a serious accusation. I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just asking questions. Well, I can't help you. I donated the money and that was the end of my involvement. Do you know who managed the distributions? No. Did you get a receipt? A thank you letter? Probably. I don't remember. Can you check your records? Mr. Ellis, I run a business. I don't have time to go digging through files from 18 years ago. It would really help me. He sighed. Look, I'm sorry about what happened to your daughter. I really am, but I can't help you with this. Can't or won't? His expression hardened. Both. He turned and walked back to his office. I left the building and sat in my car. 2 down, 5 to go. The pattern repeated with the next 3 people. Sympathetic, but unhelpful. Uncomfortable with my questions. Unwilling to dig into old records. By the time I got to the 6th person, I was exhausted. Her name was Rachel Porter. She'd been a volunteer coordinator for the fundraiser. She lived in a small house on the east side of town. I knocked on her door. She answered wearing yoga pants and a t-shirt with paint stains on it. Can I help you? Ms. Porter? My name is Robert Ellis. I'm trying to get information about a fundraiser from 18 years ago. Her face changed. You're Emma's father. Yes. I'm so sorry. That was such a tragedy. Thank you. I was wondering if you could answer some questions about how the money was distributed. She stepped back. I don't know anything about that. You were the volunteer coordinator. I helped organize the event, but I wasn't involved in the money side of things. Do you know who was? She looked over my shoulder like she was checking to see if anyone was watching. Ms. Porter? You should talk to your son, she said quietly. I have. He won't tell me anything. Then maybe you should take the hint. What do you mean? She started to close the door. I'm sorry. I can't help you. Please, if you know something, I don't know anything, and even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. Why not? Because some things are better left alone. She closed the door. I stood on her porch for a moment, then walked back to my car. Some things are better left alone. Everyone was protecting Tyler, or they were protecting themselves, or both. I drove home and added notes to my report. Then I sat at my kitchen table and stared at Emma's letter. "Daddy, I'm alive. Please find me." I'd been focused on the why, on Tyler and the money and the lies, but I hadn't been focused on the where. Where was Emma? The letter had been postmarked from Pennsylvania, a town called Millbrook. I'd looked it up. Population 8,000. Nothing special. I pulled up a map and studied it. Millbrook was 4 hours away, small enough that people would notice a stranger asking questions, big enough that someone could disappear. I packed a bag, threw in some clothes, my laptop, a charger, and the folder with all my evidence. Then I got in my car and started driving. I arrived in Millbrook just before sunset. The town was exactly what I'd expected. Main Street with a few shops, a diner, a gas station, a library. I checked into a motel on the edge of town. The clerk was a kid who looked barely old enough to work. He didn't ask questions, which was good because I didn't want to answer any. My room was small and smelled like cigarettes. I didn't care. I threw my bag on the bed and pulled out my laptop. I searched for Emma Ellis in Millbrook. Nothing. I searched for variations of her name. Emma Catherine Ellis, E.C. Ellis, Emma C. Ellis. Still nothing. I searched for girls who would be around her age, for schools, for social services, and then I found something. A local newspaper article from 6 years ago, a photo of a high school volleyball team. The caption listed the players' names. One of them was Emily Cross, E.C. She was the right age, same height as Emma would have been, same general features, though it was hard to tell from the grainy photo. I zoomed in on her face, stared at it until my eyes hurt. I couldn't be sure, but it was possible. I searched for more information on Emily Cross, found a few more articles. She'd graduated from Millbrook High School 5 years ago, played volleyball and ran track, honor roll student, no social media presence, no current address. I closed my laptop and lay on the bed, stared at the ceiling. If Emma was Emily Cross, where was she now? And why had she sent me the letter? I fell asleep with my clothes on and woke up at 6 in the morning to someone knocking on my door. I opened it. A man stood there, mid-50s, wearing jeans and a flannel shirt. He looked like he could have been a logger or a mechanic. "Robert Ellis?" he asked. "Who's asking?" "My name's Frank Morrison. I think we should talk." "Morrison, as in—" "Jack Morrison's brother. Yeah, Linda called me yesterday. Said you'd been asking questions." I stepped back and let him in. He sat on the edge of the bed and rubbed his face. "Linda told me what you're looking for." "And?" "And I can't tell you where your daughter is, but I can tell you some things that might help." "I'm listening." "First, you need to understand that what your son did, he didn't do alone. There were other people involved, people with money and connections." "Who?" "I don't know all the names, but I know one of them was Vanessa's father." "Vanessa's father?" "Yeah, he's a lawyer, big firm in the city. He helped Tyler set everything up." "Set what up?" Frank looked at me. "The adoption." My stomach dropped. "What?" "Your daughter didn't die in the fire. She was taken, removed from the system, adopted by someone who paid a lot of money to make it happen. That's kidnapping." "Technically, yeah. But the paperwork said you were unfit. Said you were unstable, grief-stricken, couldn't care for her. The adoption was sealed. Legal, on paper at least. I never signed anything. Your signature was forged. Vanessa's father handled it." I felt like I was going to be sick. Why? Why would Tyler do this? "Money. Your daughter had a trust fund, right? From her mother's side of the family?" I'd forgotten about that. Emma's mother had died when Emma was 4. Car accident. She'd left Emma a trust fund that would have matured when she turned 25. "The fund was worth about $500,000, I said. "Right. And Tyler had financial problems. His business was failing. He needed cash, so he made a deal." "What kind of deal?" "He sold Emma to someone who wanted a kid, someone who could afford to pay." In exchange, Tyler got access to the trust fund and a cut of the fundraiser money. That's insane. That's what happened. I sat down next to him. My legs felt weak. Who adopted her? I don't know. The records were sealed. But she's alive? She was alive 6 years ago. I don't know about now. How do you know all this? He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, because I helped. I stared at him. I didn't know what they were planning. Not at first. Tyler told me he was trying to protect Emma. Said you were having a breakdown. Said it was temporary. That once you got better, she'd come home. I believed him. And by the time I realized what was really happening, it was too late. The paperwork was filed. The adoption was finalized. Emma was gone. Why are you telling me this now? Because Linda said you got a letter. If Emma reached out to you, that means she knows the truth. And if she knows the truth, she's in danger. Danger from who? From Tyler. From Vanessa. From anyone who doesn't want this coming out. He stood up. I can't help you find her. But I can tell you this. If you're going to do this, you need to be smart. Don't trust anyone. Don't tell anyone where you're going. And don't underestimate how far they'll go to protect themselves. He walked to the door. Frank, I said, why did you really help them? He looked back at me. They paid me $50,000. Then he left. I sat in my motel room for an hour trying to process what he'd told me. Then I pulled out my laptop and started searching for Vanessa's father. His name was Gregory Klein, senior partner at a law firm called Klein, Barrett and Associates, corporate law, estate planning, adoptions. I found his bio on the firm's website. Graduated from Harvard Law, 30 years of experience, specializes in complex family matters. I bet he did. I searched for sealed adoption records in Pennsylvania. Found a lawyer who specialized in opening them, called her office. I need help accessing a sealed adoption record, I said. The paralegal on the other end sounded bored. Do you have a case number? No. Date of adoption? Approximately 18 years ago. Name of the child? Emma Catherine Ellis. And what's your relationship to the child? I'm her father. There was a pause. If you're the biological father and you didn't consent to the adoption, you may have grounds to petition the court. I didn't consent. The signature was forged. Another pause. That's a serious allegation. Do you have proof? I'm working on it. Well, you'll need more than your word. You'll need documentation, witnesses, evidence of fraud. I have witnesses. Are they willing to testify? I thought about Frank Morrison, about Dale Pritchard, about all the people who'd taken money to keep quiet. I don't know, I said. Then I'd suggest you find out. Because without testimony, you don't have a case. She gave me her card and hung up. I sat on the bed and felt the weight of it all pressing down on me. Tyler had sold his sister. Vanessa's father had made it legal. Frank Morrison and Dale Pritchard and probably a dozen other people had helped. And I'd believed them. For 18 years, I'd believed them. I pulled out Emma's letter and read it again. Daddy, I'm alive. Please find me. Remember the promise? I remembered, even if you're on the moon. I packed my bag and checked out of the motel. Then I drove to the Millbrook Library. The librarian was an older woman with gray hair and a kind face. I asked her if they had yearbooks from the local high school. We do. What year are you looking for? 5 years ago. She led me to a shelf in the back and pulled out the yearbook. I flipped through it until I found the senior class photos. There she was, Emily Cross. She looked just like Emma. Same eyes, same smile, same dimple on her left cheek. I stared at the photo until the librarian asked if I was okay. I'm fine, I said. Can I make a copy of this page? Sure. I made 2 copies. Then I left the library and sat in my car. Emily Cross was Emma. I was sure of it now. But where was she? I pulled out my phone and searched for Emily Cross in Millbrook. Nothing recent, just the old articles from high school. Then I tried searching for Emily Cross plus Pennsylvania. Still nothing useful. I was about to give up when I had an idea. I searched for Millbrook High School alumni groups, found a Facebook page. It was private, but I could see some of the posts through the preview. One of them mentioned a reunion happening next month. I clicked on the event page. It was public, and there, in the list of people who had RSVP'd, was Emily Cross. The motel. I spent the next 2 days in Millbrook trying to find more information about Emily Cross. I talked to people at the diner, the gas station, the post office. Most of them remembered her. Nice girl, quiet, kept to herself. Nobody knew where she'd gone after graduation. I went to the high school and asked to speak to a guidance counselor. The woman at the front desk looked at me like I was insane. "Sir, we can't give out information about former students. I'm not asking for her address. I just want to know if she went to college. I can't help you with that." I left before security got involved. That evening, I sat in my motel room and went through everything again. The letter, the yearbook photo, the timeline. Emma had been 8 when she disappeared. She'd be 26 now. Emily Cross had graduated 5 years ago, which would make her about 23 at the time. The math worked. But if Emily was Emma, why had she waited until now to contact me? And why had she been living under a different name all these years? I pulled out my phone and opened Facebook, searched for Emily Cross again. This time, I filtered the results to Pennsylvania. Found 3 profiles. 2 were clearly not her. The third was set to private, but the profile picture showed a woman with dark hair standing on a beach. I zoomed in on the photo. Couldn't see her face clearly. But the build was right. The height looked right. I sent a friend request with a message. "Emily, this is Robert Ellis. I think we need to talk." Then I waited. 2 hours later, my phone buzzed. The friend request had been declined, but there was a message. "Don't contact me again." I replied immediately. "Please, I got your letter. I'm trying to find you." The typing indicator appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, "I didn't send you a letter." My chest tightened. "Yes, you did. It was in your handwriting. You told me to find you." "I don't know what you're talking about." "Emma, please. I know it's you." The typing indicator disappeared. She didn't respond. I tried again. "I know about Tyler, about the adoption, about what they did to you." Still nothing. I sat on the bed and stared at my phone, waited for her to respond. She didn't. Finally, I sent one more message. "I promised I would always come find you, even if you were on the moon." I waited and waited. Emma's plan was simple and terrible. We were going to confront Tyler publicly. At a charity event his company was sponsoring, an event where all his business partners, clients, and friends would be present. "He'll deny everything," I said. "Probably, but I'll be there, living proof that his sister didn't die 18 years ago. He'll say it's a misunderstanding, that you were legally adopted. Then we show them the forged signature, the financial records, everything. And if he still denies it?" She smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "Then I make sure everyone knows he's a liar." We spent the next 3 days preparing. Emma showed me everything she'd collected. Bank statements showing Tyler's theft from his own company. Emails between him and Vanessa's father discussing the arrangement. Photos of the Fosters receiving payments. It was damning. But it still wasn't a confession. "We need to push him," Emma said. "Make him angry enough to slip up." "Tyler doesn't slip up. Everyone slips up. You just have to find the right pressure point." She pulled up a file on her computer. "Tyler's company is in trouble. He's been covering it up, but he's bleeding money. If the board finds out, he's done." "How do you know this?" "I've been monitoring his accounts. He's liquidating assets, borrowing against properties. He's desperate. So we threaten to expose the financial problems? No. We threaten to expose why he has financial problems. Because he's been stealing to pay off the people who helped him kidnap me. I stared at her. You think he's still paying them? I know he is. I found records of regular transfers. Same amounts. Same dates every month. To who? Dale Pritchard, Frank Morrison, Vanessa's father, maybe others. Hush money. Exactly. And if they find out the money is about to dry up, they might start talking. So we go to them first. Tell them we're going public. See if they flip. No. We let Tyler think they're about to flip. We make him paranoid. Then we hit him when he's vulnerable. It was a good plan. A mean plan. But I wasn't sure it would work. What if he runs? I asked. He won't run. He has too much invested here, too much to lose. What if he comes after you? Let him try. She said it with such confidence that I almost believed her. The charity event was in 4 days, a fundraiser for children's education. The irony wasn't lost on me. Emma and I rehearsed what we were going to say, how we were going to present the evidence, how we were going to make sure Tyler couldn't wriggle out of it. But first, we needed to plant the seeds of doubt. I called Dale Pritchard. Robert, he said when he answered. His voice was tired. I already told you everything I know. I know, but I wanted to give you a heads up. I'm going public with what Tyler did. Everything. There was a long pause. What do you mean, everything? The forged fire report, the hush money, all of it. You don't have proof. Actually, I do. Financial records showing monthly payments from Tyler to you. Same amount, same date, for 18 years. Another pause. Longer this time. If you expose that, I'm done. I know. My wife doesn't know. My kids don't know. I'm sorry about that. But I'm going to make sure everyone knows what Tyler did. And if you helped him, you're going down with him. Robert, please. I made a mistake. I was young and stupid and I needed the money. So did I. But I didn't sell my daughter. I didn't know that's what it was. He told me it was for the family, for closure. You knew enough to take the money. You knew enough to lie on an official report. He was quiet. I could hear him breathing. What do you want from me? He finally asked. Nothing. I just wanted you to know what's coming. I hung up. Then I called Frank Morrison. Had the same conversation. Got the same reaction. Fear, panic, desperation. Good. The next day, I drove to the city and parked outside Gregory Klein's office building. Waited until he came out for lunch. He was exactly what I'd expected. Expensive suit, expensive watch. The kind of man who thought money made him untouchable. I followed him to a restaurant, waited until he sat down. Then I walked up to his table. Mr. Klein? He looked up. Do I know you? No, but you know my daughter, Emma Ellis. Or should I say Emily Cross? His expression didn't change, but I saw something flicker in his eyes. Recognition. Calculation. I think you have me confused with someone else. I don't think so. You facilitated her illegal adoption 18 years ago, forged my signature, made it all look legitimate. I have no idea what you're talking about. I pulled out a folder and dropped it on his table. Bank records showing payments from Tyler Ellis to your firm, correspondence discussing the arrangement, adoption papers with a forged signature. He glanced at the folder but didn't open it. These allegations are ridiculous. Are they? Because I have witnesses, people who were involved, people who are getting nervous now that I'm asking questions. Then talk to them. I am. I'm talking to you. He leaned back in his chair. I'm a lawyer, Mr. Ellis. I've been threatened by better people than you. This little performance doesn't scare me. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm giving you a chance to get ahead of this. Get ahead of what? The story. The media coverage, the investigation, because when this goes public, your firm is going to be associated with child trafficking, fraud, forgery, and no amount of expensive lawyers is going to make that go away. For the first time, I saw real concern in his face. What do you want? I want you to tell the truth about what Tyler asked you to do, about how you made it happen, about who else was involved. I can't do that. Then, you're going to go down with him. I turned and walked out of the restaurant. By that evening, my phone was ringing constantly. First Dale, then Frank, then someone I didn't recognize who claimed to be representing Gregory Klein. I didn't answer any of them. I was at Emma's storage unit when Tyler finally called. "What the hell are you doing?" he yelled. "What do you mean?" "You know exactly what I mean. Dale called me, said you threatened him, said you're going public with some insane story." "It's not insane. It's the truth." "The truth? You're delusional. You're harassing people based on a letter from some random person pretending to be Emma." "She's not pretending. I met her." Silence. "You met who?" "Emma, your sister. The one you sold." "That's impossible." "Is it?" "Because she remembers everything. The fire, the Fosters. You visiting her when she was 9 and telling her to forget about her old life." More silence. "Tyler? Where is she?" "Somewhere you can't get to her." "I want to see her." "I'm sure you do. So you can pay her off or threaten her or do whatever else you think will make this go away. But that's not going to happen. Dad, listen to me. I don't know who you talked to, but it wasn't Emma. Emma died. I was there. I identified her body." "You identified a body. Whose body was it, Tyler?" He didn't answer. "You knew the fire was coming. You made sure Emma wasn't there. You needed a body, so you used someone else. Who was it?" "This is insane." "Who was the third victim, Tyler? The one nobody claimed. Who was that?" "I don't know. Some homeless person, probably." "You burned a homeless person alive to cover up your kidnapping scheme?" "I didn't burn anyone. The fire was an accident." "Then how did you know Emma would survive? How did you know she'd be somewhere else when it happened?" He was breathing hard now. I could hear it through the phone. "You're going to regret this," he said. "Probably. But not as much as you're going to regret what you did." I hung up. Emma was watching me from across the room. He took the bait. "Yeah, now we wait." We didn't have to wait long. That night, someone broke into my house, ransacked it. Looking for the evidence, probably. They didn't find anything. I'd moved everything to a safe deposit box days ago. The next day, Vanessa showed up at the storage facility. I don't know how she found it, but she did. Emma and I were inside when we heard the car pull up. "Stay here," I said. I went outside. Vanessa was standing next to her car, arms crossed. "You need to stop this," she said. "I've already had this conversation with you." "I know, but this time I'm not threatening you. I'm begging you." That surprised me. Begging me. Tyler is falling apart. He's not sleeping. He's not eating. He's convinced you're going to destroy everything. Good. That's the idea. He didn't mean for any of this to happen. It got out of control. He sold his sister. How does that get out of control? She looked away. It was my father's idea. Tyler was desperate. His business was failing. We were about to lose everything. My father offered to help, but he wanted something in return. A child? He had a client, a couple who wanted to adopt. They were willing to pay, a lot, enough to save Tyler's business and then some. And Tyler just went along with it? He didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. She looked at me. Really looked at me. You don't understand what it's like. To be desperate. To feel like everything you've worked for is slipping away. You're right. I don't understand that. Because I would never sell a child to save my business. She was going to be happy. The Fosters were good people. They gave her a good life. You don't get to decide what was good for her. I was her father. That was my decision. You were broken. You couldn't take care of her. My voice echoed off the storage units. Vanessa flinched. I'm sorry, she said quietly. No, you're not. You're just sorry you got caught. What do you want from us? Money? We can give you money. I don't want your money. Then what? I want Tyler to confess. Publicly. I want him to admit what he did. And I want everyone to know the kind of man he really is. He'll never do that. Then I'll make him. She shook her head. You're going to destroy him. Yes. And you think that will make you feel better? I don't care if it makes me feel better. I care that he pays for what he did. She got back in her car. Before she drove away, she said, You used to be a good man, Robert. I used to have a daughter, I said. She left. Emma came out of the storage unit. You okay? Yeah. She's right, you know. This is going to destroy Tyler. I know. And it's probably going to destroy you too. I know that too. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she said, Good. The next 2 days were a blur. We finalized the plan, made sure all the evidence was in order, rehearsed what we were going to say. Emma was calm, focused, like she'd been preparing for this her whole life. Maybe she had. The night before the event, we met at a diner outside the city. Emma brought printouts of everything we were going to present. I brought my copy of the fire report and Emma's original letter. You ready for this? I asked. I've been ready for 18 years. It's going to get ugly. I know. Tyler might try something. Vanessa, her father, any of them. Let them try. I looked at her across the table. She wasn't the little girl I remembered. She was harder now, colder, but she was still my daughter. I'm proud of you, I said. She looked surprised. Why? Because you survived. Because you didn't let them break you. Because you're strong enough to do this. I'm not strong, I'm angry. Anger can be strength. She smiled a little. Is that what you tell yourself? Every day. We finished our coffee in silence. Then we went over the plan one more time. Tomorrow we'd drive to the event separately. Emma would wait outside until I gave her the signal. Then she'd come in, and we'd make sure Tyler had nowhere left to hide. What if it doesn't work? Emma asked. It'll work. But what if it doesn't? What if he still gets away with it? Then we go to the police, the media. We keep fighting until someone listens. And if nobody listens? I didn't have an answer for that. We said goodnight in the parking lot. Emma got in her car and sat there for a moment, looking at me through the windshield. Then she drove away. I went back to my motel and tried to sleep. Couldn't. Spent the night staring at the ceiling and thinking about everything that had led to this moment. 18 years of lies, 18 years of grief, 18 years of my son living comfortably while my daughter grew up thinking I'd abandoned her. Tomorrow, all of that would end. One way or another. The event. The charity event was held at a converted firehouse. The irony was so thick I could taste it. I arrived early and parked across the street, watched people arrive, business suits and cocktail dresses, valets and catering trucks, Tyler's world. I was wearing my best suit. It was 10 years old and didn't fit quite right anymore, but it was all I had. I texted Emma. I'm here, she replied immediately. Good. Wait for my signal. I got out of my car and walked toward the entrance. A woman with a clipboard stopped me. Name? Robert Ellis. She scanned her list, frowned. I don't see you on here. I'm Tyler Ellis's father. Her expression changed. Oh, of course. Go right in. The inside of the firehouse had been completely renovated. Exposed brick, hanging lights, a bar in the corner, maybe 100 people milling around, drinking wine and talking. I scanned the room for Tyler, found him near the back, talking to a group of men in expensive suits, laughing, confident. Vanessa was next to him, looking perfect in a blue dress that probably cost more than my car. I walked to the bar and ordered water. The bartender looked at me like I'd asked for poison. Just water, I confirmed. He shrugged and handed me a glass. I stood at the bar and watched Tyler. waited for the right moment. A man approached me, late 50s, gray hair, warm smile. Robert Ellis? Yes? I'm Dave Winters. I knew your son in college. I'm so sorry about your daughter. I shook his hand. Thank you. I remember Tyler talking about her. He was devastated when it happened. Was he? Dave looked confused by my tone. Well, yes, we all were. Did he tell you what really happened? What do you mean? Before I could answer, someone tapped a microphone. The room went quiet. Tyler was standing on a small stage at the front of the room, Vanessa next to him. Thank you all for coming tonight, he said. His voice was smooth, practiced. As you know, tonight's event is about supporting children's education, about giving kids opportunities they might not otherwise have. I felt sick. Education changed my life, Tyler continued. It gave me a chance to build something, to create opportunities, and I want to make sure every child has that same chance. There was polite applause. Before we begin the auction, I want to recognize someone very special. My father, Robert Ellis, is here tonight. Every head in the room turned to look at me. Tyler smiled. Dad, would you like to say a few words? It wasn't a request. It was a challenge. He was putting me on the spot, making me look like the crazy old man who couldn't let go of the past. I walked to the stage. Tyler handed me the microphone, whispered in my ear, "Don't embarrass me." I took the microphone and looked out at the crowd, all these successful people, all these friends of Tyler's, people who respected him, admired him. Thank you for having me, I said. My voice sounded rough over the speakers. I want to talk to you about children, about what we owe them, about what happens when we fail them. Tyler's smile was frozen on his face. 18 years ago, my daughter Emma died in a fire. At least that's what I was told. That's what the fire report said. That's what everyone believed. The room was completely silent now. But it was a lie. Emma didn't die in that fire. She was taken, kidnapped, sold to the highest bidder. Gasps from the crowd. Tyler's face went white. And the person who orchestrated it was my son, Tyler Ellis, the man standing next to me right now. Tyler grabbed for the microphone. I pulled it away. Dad, you need to stop. Why? So you can keep lying? So you can keep pretending you're a good person? Vanessa stepped forward. Robert, please. You're not well. I'm perfectly well. And I have proof. I pulled out a folder and held it up. Financial records showing Tyler stole from his own company to pay off the people who helped him. Bank statements showing monthly payments to Dale Pritchard, Frank Morrison, and Gregory Klein. Emails discussing the arrangement. Tyler lunged for the folder. I stepped back. And I have something else, I said. I have Emma. I looked toward the entrance. Emma was standing there. She'd changed since I'd last seen her, wearing a dress now, hair down. She looked exactly like her mother. She walked through the crowd. People parted for her like she was a ghost. Tyler stared at her. No. Hi, Tyler, Emma said. Her voice was steady, strong. This isn't real. You're not real. I'm very real. And I remember everything. Vanessa grabbed Tyler's arm. We need to leave. No, I said. You're not leaving. You're going to stay here and explain to all these people what you did. I don't have to explain anything to anyone. Then I will. I turned to the crowd. Tyler needed money. His business was failing. He was desperate. So when Vanessa's father came to him with an opportunity, he took it. Sell his 8-year-old sister to a couple who wanted a child. Stage a fire to cover it up. Forge my signature on adoption papers. Take the money and start over. This is insane, Tyler said. But his voice was weak. Is it? Then explain the payments. Explain the forged fire report. He couldn't. He just stood there, mouth opening and closing like a fish. Emma stepped onto the stage. You told me my father didn't want me. You told me he was too broken to take care of me. You told me it was better this way. It was better. The Fosters gave you a good life. They were strangers. I had a father, I had a family, and you took that from me. I was trying to help you. You were trying to help yourself. Someone in the crowd pulled out their phone and started recording. Then another. Then another. Vanessa grabbed Tyler's arm again. We're leaving. Now. But before they could move, the doors burst open and 3 police officers walked in. Behind them was Dale Pritchard. I called them, Dale said. He looked older than he had a week ago, tired, broken. I told them everything. Tyler's face crumbled. Dale, what did you do? What I should have done 18 years ago. One of the officers approached Tyler. Tyler Ellis, we have some questions for you regarding fraud, forgery, and child trafficking. This is ridiculous. I'm not answering anything without my lawyer. That's your right, but you're coming with us. They led Tyler toward the door. He looked back at me once. The expression on his face was pure hatred. Vanessa tried to follow, but another officer stopped her. Vanessa Ellis? We have questions for you too. She looked at me. You've destroyed us. No, I said. Tyler destroyed himself. They took both of them out of the building. The crowd erupted into noise, people talking, shouting questions, recording on their phones. I didn't care. I walked over to Emma. You okay? I asked. Yeah, you? Yeah. We stood there for a moment, surrounded by chaos, and for the first time in 18 years, I felt like I could breathe. The truth. The next few days were a media circus. Reporters camped outside my house, called my phone constantly, wanted interviews, statements, photos. I ignored all of them. Emma did too. She'd given one statement to the police and then disappeared. I didn't blame her. This was exactly the attention she'd spent 18 years avoiding. Tyler was released on bail after 48 hours. $500,000. Vanessa's father posted it. The charges were serious: fraud, forgery, conspiracy to commit kidnapping. But Tyler had expensive lawyers, and they were already spinning the story, calling it a misunderstanding, a family dispute blown out of proportion. The media wasn't buying it. Not after the video from the event went viral. Not after Dale Pritchard's statement to the police. Not after Emma's adoption records were unsealed by a judge. Tyler was done. Even if he somehow avoided prison, his reputation was destroyed. His business was collapsing. His friends were distancing themselves. It should have felt good. It should have felt like justice. But mostly, I just felt tired. I was at home, ignoring another call from a reporter, when someone knocked on my door. It was Frank Morrison. Can I come in? He asked. I let him in. He sat on my couch and stared at his hands. I talked to the police, he said. Told them everything I knew. Good. They said I might face charges too. Accessory after the fact. Obstruction of justice. Maybe more. I'm sorry. Don't be. I deserve it. He looked up at me. I wanted you to know that I'm testifying. Against Tyler, against Gregory Klein, against anyone who was involved. Why? Because I have grandkids now, and I want them to know that when I did something wrong, I tried to make it right. It won't undo what happened. I know, but it's something. He left a few minutes later. That afternoon, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Mr. Ellis, this is Detective Sarah Williams. I'm with the county prosecutor's office. We'd like to schedule a time for you to come in and give a formal statement. When? As soon as possible. Tomorrow morning? Okay. And Mr. Ellis, we're going to need your daughter to testify as well. I'll ask her. I called Emma. She answered on the third ring. The prosecutor wants you to testify. I know, they already called me. Are you going to do it? Of course. This is what we wanted, right? To make sure he pays? Yeah. Then why do you sound so unsure? I don't know. I guess I thought it would feel different. Different how? More satisfying. More final. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Dad, nothing about this is going to feel satisfying. We didn't win. We just stopped losing. I guess you're right. I'll see you at the courthouse tomorrow. She hung up. The next morning, I drove to the prosecutor's office. Emma was already there, sitting in a waiting room with a cup of coffee. "Hey," I said. "Hey." We sat in silence until a woman in a suit came to get us. "Mr. Ellis? Ms. Cross? I'm Assistant Prosecutor Laura Chen. Thank you for coming in." She led us to a conference room. There were 2 other people there, a stenographer and another detective. "We're going to record this," Laura said, "and we'll need you both to give detailed accounts of what happened, starting with you, Mr. Ellis." I told them everything: the letter, the fire report, the conversations with Dale and Frank, the fundraiser money, the adoption records. It took 2 hours. Then it was Emma's turn. She told them about the night of the fire, how Tyler had picked her up from her aunt's apartment earlier that evening, told her they were going on a special trip, took her to a hotel and told her to wait. She told them about waking up the next morning to news reports about the fire, about Tyler telling her that her father had signed papers giving her up, that it was for the best, that the Fosters would take good care of her. She told them about the Fosters, about growing up thinking her father had abandoned her, about finding the adoption papers after they died, about realizing what Tyler had done. Her voice never wavered, never broke. When she was finished, Laura said, "This is going to be a difficult case. Tyler's lawyers are good. They're going to argue that the adoption was legitimate, that you, Mr. Ellis, were unfit at the time, that everything was done in Emma's best interest." "But it wasn't legitimate," I said. "My signature was forged. We have experts examining the documents, but it's been 18 years. Handwriting analysis isn't always conclusive." "What about Dale Pritchard's testimony? Frank Morrison's?" "They'll help, but they're both admitting to crimes themselves. Defense will argue they're unreliable witnesses." "So you're saying Tyler might get away with this?" "I'm saying it's going to be a fight, and you both need to be prepared for that." Emma leaned forward. "What do you need from us?" "Testimony, documents, anything you have that proves Tyler orchestrated this." "I have financial records showing he paid off people involved. I have emails. I have the original fundraiser documents showing where the money went." "We'll need all of it." "What about Vanessa?" I asked. "And her father?" "We're building cases against both of them. Vanessa for conspiracy, Gregory Klein for fraud and illegal adoption practices. But again, these are complicated cases with rich defendants and expensive lawyers." "So nobody's going to pay for this?" "I didn't say that. I said it's going to be a fight." We left the prosecutor's office and stood in the parking lot. "You want to get lunch?" I asked Emma. "Sure." We went to a diner a few blocks away, ordered sandwiches neither of us ate. "How are you doing?" I asked. "I don't know. Numb, I guess." "Yeah, me too. I thought exposing Tyler would feel like closure, but it just feels like the beginning of something else." "What do you mean?" "Like now I have to relive it all. In court, in front of strangers. Explain what it was like to be 8 years old and have your whole life ripped away." "You don't have to do it if you don't want to." "Yes, I do. If I don't testify, he wins. I'll be there with you." She looked at me. "Will you?" "Of course. Because you weren't there before, when I needed you most." "I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "I know you are, but sorry doesn't fix anything." "What can I do?" "I don't know, Dad. I don't know if there's anything you can do." We sat in silence for a while. Then Emma said, "I sent the letter." I looked at her. "What?" "The letter, the one you got. I sent it." "But you said—" "I lied. I sent it because I wanted to see if you'd come looking for me. I wanted to know if you cared enough to try." Of course I cared. I know that now, but I didn't know then, and I needed to know. "Why didn't you just come to me?" "Because I was angry and scared, and part of me still blamed you for not looking harder, for believing Tyler." I should have looked harder. Yeah, you should have. She pushed her sandwich away. But you're here now. And that's something. It's not enough. No, but it's a start. We paid the bill and walked to the parking lot. Emma, I said, can I ask you something? Sure. Do you think you'll ever be able to forgive me? She thought about it for a long time. I don't know. Maybe, but it's going to take a while. I understand. Good. She got in her car and drove away. I stood in the parking lot and watched her go. The trial started 3 months later. The prosecution had built a strong case, financial records, testimony from Dale Pritchard and Frank Morrison, the forged fire report, the adoption papers with my forged signature. Tyler's defense team argued that the adoption was done in good faith, that I was unfit to care for Emma at the time, that Tyler was trying to help. The jury didn't buy it. Vanessa cut a deal, testified against Tyler and her father in exchange for a reduced sentence. 5 years probation. Gregory Klein fought the charges, lost, got disbarred, and sentenced to 3 years in prison. Tyler went to trial, took the stand in his own defense, claimed he was protecting Emma, that the Fosters were good people, that everything he did was for her benefit. Emma took the stand too, told the jury about being taken from her family, about growing up thinking her father had abandoned her, about finding the truth. The jury deliberated for 6 hours, guilty on all counts. Tyler was sentenced to 12 years in prison, fraud, forgery, conspiracy to commit kidnapping, and theft. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough. But it was something.